Hi everyone, it's Nicole, and I'm here with another Clean With Me. Now, I have to say, I sped this up, I think some of them times 20, because we're still working on those 75, between 75 and 100 page kits that I've been recycling through for the last probably 9 months to 12 months. So I think I love making page kits. That is not something I'm going to stop doing. But I think when I get to a point where I get that many page kits where I have so much products in different plastic bags, I'm going to take the time, and it was very, very time consuming. I have to say, it probably just this part here, the 75 page kits, probably took me between 4 and 5 hours, but I feel so good about it. I can say that section three, because section one was right like where this part is and in front of my desk, right? Section two was the rest of my desk. Section three was that floor and where the all the page kits were all, you know, kind of overflowing into everything. All that you'll see is all done. But the problem with getting that part done, I had to get my desk dirty again. So this took me 2 weekends to do. So I started last weekend. I couldn't finish. And then the week started. And, I now have the baby some of the days, and I have to get other videos done. I did 2 lives last week. So, time just kind of gets away from you. And I knew I wouldn't have time during the week. So I had kind of scheduled it for this week. So I did this weekend. So I ended up doing it today. Now, I'm showing you a little bit of, the process that I was doing. So I would get about 25 page kits, and I literally touched every piece of cardstock, every piece of pattern paper, and every piece of embellishments. And it almost seems like, well, you had to touch them twice. Yes, but there was so much stuff that was the only way that my brain could think of how I could do this. I guess I could have spread out on my big table, but just doing this, my table was completely messed up. So what I did was I did a pile for all the cardstock, and then I did a pile for all the pattern papers. Now, anything that was full sheet, I did separate those right at the beginning, but you'll see at the end of this, I still do something with those. So, and then I just throw all the embellishments in another pile. Now, once I go through all those plastic bags, then I go through and I kind of reorganize it even more because, yes, all the cardstock are all together, but it ended up being a huge stack. All the pattern papers, I literally had 3 stacks of pattern papers. I was like, this is still going to be overwhelming. So once I have everything all sorted, and I think in the last video I started with the cardstock. I made 3 piles. I put all my black, my browns, my whites, so all my neutrals together. Then I put pink, purple, and red together. And then I put yellow, orange, green, and blue together. And I have those in separate bags. And I can tell you, I've only done that last week, and already I didn't go to my cardstock, like where I keep my cardstock, unless I was looking for a background this week. Everything, if I'm like, oh, I need, some green for, even I was making page kits, for some mats for this page kit, I went to this baggie first. Now, somebody left a message and said, oh, I did that and I put it in a drawer and it worked really well for me. I already tried that and it didn't work for me. It's still in the drawer, and I don't even think of going there. But I think this system is going to work for me because I've already gone through it. And I'll show you at the end what I put everything in. And everything is in that one container. And I think that's going to work for me. And I'm so excited. And that's the wonderful thing about organizing. You know, what works for somebody might not work for somebody else. And that's why I'm sharing this, is because, you know, it may work for you or may not, but it might spark an idea of maybe of what you can do, you know. And so yes, by the end of the first time I worked on these, I did that with the cardstock. Now I'm building more cardstock right now, right? Because this is another session. But at the end of this, I just quickly separate the cardstock, and there you go. I have somewhere to put it in, and then I move on to the next part of this. Another thing that I started doing with my patrons is this past Saturday is I have quite a few layouts that I don't have pictures in because I'm like, ooh, this would be the perfect layout for this picture, but it's not printed. You know what I mean? So we went through and I spent about an hour and a half, and I went through some layouts and I put dates. Some of them, all that was missing was like dates and journaling. I didn't do the journaling with them because I have to kind of be by myself to do that. But I was able to go through my phone, find the date, ink the date, and at least stamp the date so that when I go to journal on that page, at least the date is there. Then we spent about an hour and I put pictures on 15 pages, which doesn't sound like a lot, but I was like, you know what? If I do 15 a month with them, that's something that we're going to do. It's going to be for all the members of Patreon. If once a month I spend an hour and a half, and I do between 15 and 20 pages, because this month was the first time I did this, right? So, you know, learning curve. But if I can do 15 to 20, I can get all the pages that I have that don't have pictures on. I can have them, have pictures on them, and then the next step will be to obviously, you know, do the journaling and then put them into albums, which I am so excited for. So that's what this going through this process also did. I'm like, okay, so now my brain is kind of freed up a little bit of, you know, data, if you will. And I'm like, oh, I can start doing that to my layouts. And then, you know, a little bit of that is going to go into albums, and then it's going to go off my desk. And I'm hoping, I'm telling you, 2024 is going to be the year where I clean up my craft room. Once I literally clean it up, what I'm going to do is, instead of saying clean with me, it's going to be organized with me. And I'm going to go, even if I have to go drawer by drawer, I'm going to get this room organized. So that was the last of the page kits. I have them all separated. So this is where they were all overflowing. And now I just have to take a few minutes. I had 2 sticker binders. They weren't even zipped up. So I brought it over to my desk because, you know, that was one of the reasons why I brought the page kits over to my desk, is there's no way I wanted to sit on the floor for hours and hours and hours separating that. So I made it so it was comfortable, you know, like I made it so that it didn't, I mean, it still killed my back, but it not as much as if I was sitting on the floor. So this box right there that I have on my Echelon bike is all stuff like baby pattern papers and embellishments. So until I find a spot where I can keep them, I'm going to keep them in that box. So I put that up on a shelf, and I'm just picking up quickly, and then I'm going to start sweeping. And then this area, at least the floor is going to be done, right? Like I just moving some things around, and this is my Misty, my 12 by 12 Misty. I put it somewhere where it can, you know, live and not just be sitting up against a counter like that. And that area is done. And in a second here, I'm going to show you yes, this area is done. It looks really nice. I'm really proud. Yep, looks really good. Got rid of all those boxes that were there too. Yep, looks really good. And now all that mess is now on my desk. But remember, all of that now is all divided pattern papers and cardstock and embellishments. So what I did was I went and I got some little stickers and I'm going to put them on my plastic bags. So I'm just writing the name of the companies. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to touch every single piece of pattern papers. And I made, Bo Bunny pile and a mixed scrap, October Afternoon, American Craft, My Mind's Eye, Simple Stories. And some of the pattern papers, just by looking at it, like 49 Market, I know right away when it's 49 Market. Simple Stories, I'm pretty good at telling when it's Simple Stories. Some of the other ones, like if it was just a little scrap, I have no idea. And probably if I sat there and I thought about it long enough, I could probably figure out who the company is, but does it really matter that much? You know what I mean? Like if I can tell right away, or if it's still on the branding strip, then I can put it in that pile. And the reason that it matters somewhat is because I have embellishments that go with those pattern papers, right? So I want to be able to go to my simple story bag, and there's all the scraps of simple stories. And this took me to go through all the pattern papers, and I'm going to go through some more cardstock, and then I'm going to go through some full sheets of pattern papers and cardstock. The full sheets pattern papers is going to be really easy because it still has the branding strip, so that makes my life easy. And all the embellishments, it took me an hour. And I can tell you, it was worth it. It was a pain in the tushy, but it was worth it. And then you'll see at some point, I'm going to do something with those mixed scraps. I'm going to take the 10 minutes and I'm going to even sort it even more. We'll go through that in a little bit. Now, as I'm going through this, if it's too small of a piece, it goes in the garbage. Now, I have to say, in 2016 is the year that we built our house. And as I was packing up my scrap room, I had a ton of scraps. Like I'm talking a ton of scraps. And I had so much packing to do. It was more than my brain could handle. And I threw out all those scraps. It was just too much. I was like, I'm just going to throw it out and I'm just going to start fresh, right? Well, I'm not at that point where I want to throw out those scraps because I keep making page kits with them. And I'm like, ooh, that one page. Yes, maybe now, I'm paying $2 for that piece of pattern papers, for those pattern papers, but I'm going to get like 6 pages done with that one piece of pattern paper. Now, maybe, I use 4 or 5 on a layout, but I'm still getting 6 or 7 layouts done. And at least I know I am getting my money's worth. And like I said, this part here, altogether today, I spent 2 hours in my craft room cleaning up. I had an audiobook on and, I made some really good progress on my audiobook. So I'm happy with that. And at the end, I'll have to say, I'm not happy where I put the container. I still have to think on that, like where it's going to sit. But I just put it where I'm going to put it until I can make another decision. But I'm really happy with how it ends up being. I have to say, it filled it up. I cannot, I have to make sure that I use the stuff in there. I can't keep adding scraps and adding other stuff in there because it's filled to capacity. So now I got to start making page kits again. Another thing it did, man, there was some pattern papers. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. I love this pattern paper. I want to use it. So, I'm going to be making page kits with that sooner than later. Now, see, I've already gone through all the pattern papers. Now I'm sticking them in the envelopes. And if there's a company that there's not a lot of pattern papers, I'm sticking two of them together. I don't care. I mean, they were in 75 different baggies before, so now they're going to be in like four, so 4 or 5, so I'm good with that. Now, when I looked at the mixed one, I'm like, oh my goodness, the stack was so huge. I'm like, I'm not going to enjoy going through this. So I thought, you know what, anything bigger than 4 by 6, I'm going to put in a baggie, and anything smaller than that, I'm going to put in another baggie. And then that way, if I notice that I never pull from the small ones, like a year from now, if I notice that I never go to the smaller strips, I'm going to chuck it. I'm just going to throw them out. I just didn't feel good throwing it out now, but now they're in their own little baggie. And a year from now, if I haven't used them, I'm just going to throw them out. If I haven't gone to the bag, saying that have I used all of them, that's maybe unrealistic. But if I go in the bag all the time, I'll be happy with that. This week, I think I did 10 or 15 page kits, and I pulled out those bags of cardstock every single time. So to me, that is totally worth it. Now, when I make page kits now, I can maybe say, I'm going to pull out, my simple story bag and my simple story sticker bag, because now what I'm doing is I'm taking that big pile of sticker that I was just throwing on my desk, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to divide it by companies. So I have a stack of simple stories. I have a stack of October Afternoon and 49 and Market, and I'm going to put them in bags. Now, you're going to see at one point, I'm going to bring one of my iris containers. I think it's for Echo Park, and I'm going to put whatever stickers I have for Echo Park in there. And that's because my Echo Park container is not very full. But the rest of like 49 and Market is full. Simple Stories is full. So that's why I'm going to bags. I guess you're not going to see it. My phone was full and I ran out of batteries. So, but I did that. I did put some directly in the iris containers, and the rest I put in bags. Now, this is, while I was going through all those page kits, this is the full or near full pattern papers and cardstock. And that's another thing that I'm doing. I'm just doing the quick sort right now. Pattern paper, cardstock, pattern paper, cardstock. Now, once I'm going to be done, I'm like, you know what? I'm this far in. Let's now divide it by company. Now, the only difference is when I finish sorting this, I just put it back in a stack because I want to try and use these full sheets of pattern papers. So I didn't put them in those envelopes, because the next few weeks when I make pattern page kits, I'll just go get that big stack and I'll try to use those up. So just because I did something for one thing doesn't mean that I did it for the next thing. You know what I mean? Like, this to me made sense. And now I'm going to do the same thing for the full cardstock, and I'm going to divide them in the same color pattern as I did for the scraps, except again at the end, I'm not going to put it in a baggie. I'm going to put it all together so that when I put page kits together, if I need a background, not for matting so much, that I'll go to my scraps, but if I need a background, I'll go to this first. Now, another thing, I took it one step further for this, is I put all my white cardstock together, all my pink, you know what I mean? Like, I separated all, and then I put it all together. Now, my smaller piece of scraps, I didn't do that. Now, I think what I might do is, if I take the black ones out, I might end up doing that with it at some point, but I'm not ready for that yet. Now, At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm almost done. So I still have piles on my desk. I have those baggies that I put all the companies, in. So what I end up doing is I take that Walmart grocery bag and I'm going to put my stickers in the front by company, and then I have my cardstock in the middle, and then I have my pattern papers, the scraps, in the back. And oh my goodness, I can tell I'm going to love this because everything has a spot. And I even put them in order of company. Will that, like in alphabetical order, will that stay like that? Probably not. But for right now, I'm going to do that. Now I'm going to put my big baggies, the box away. And then I had a pad of paper I ended up putting away. And those are all my digital files. I'm just going to put them there for now because I don't know where else to put them. And then these are my page kits that I'm taking to the crop next weekend. And they looked kind of messy. So I just kind of am going to fix them up. And I had a few thickers that were not in, not put away. So I put those away. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I have to say, I'm not loving having that there and that there. Those are the page kits I'm taking to a crop next weekend. So I have work to do on those this week to kind of get them ready. So you'll be seeing videos on that. But I'm still trying to figure out where I can put this tote. But I love that I have the embellishments in the front. I have the cardstock here. And then I have the pattern paper back there, like scraps. And then I had full sheets of everything, and I put that right there. So when I make page kits, I'm going to go there first to try to use those up. But I think I'm going to call it like, what was that, section 3? Section 3 is not complete. And finally, I can see my desk again. And in order to do those page kits, I want to be able, you'll see how, usually I do it at my desk and, one at a time, but this time I want to try something different. So as you can see, still a lot of stuff to clean up. So lots of cleaning videos coming up. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe. If you're enjoying these videos, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. And I want to thank you so much for watching. Bye.